My best friend asked me to be her maid of honor at the wedding. I discovered the groom was the man who destroyed my life. My hands trembled as I fixed Sarah's veil in the bridal suite. In 3 hours, I'd be watching my best friend marry the man who had sexually assaulted me in college and threatened to ruin my life if I ever told anyone. Sarah and I had been inseparable since middle school. When she called screaming about meeting the most amazing man last year, I was genuinely happy for her. She deserved love after a string of toxic relationships. There was just one problem paired in the whirlwind romance. I'd never actually met her perfect Ryan. I can't believe you are finally meeting him at our rehearsal dinner. She gushed over the phone. You two will absolutely adore each other. The moment I walked into that restaurant and saw him, my blood turned to ice. Ryan's eyes widened for a split second before his face transformed into a picture of charm. So you are the famous best friend I've heard everything about, he said smoothly, reaching for my hand. I excused myself to the bathroom and threw up. When I could breathe again, I had two choices. Tell Sarah everything and potentially destroy her happiness days before her wedding, or somehow get through the weekend in silence. I chose silence, pairing the same poison that had been eating me alive for 4 years. The night before the wedding, Ryan cornered me on the hotel balcony during the after party. Quite the coincidence, isn't it? His voice was casual, but his eyes were cold. Sarah doesn't know about our history, and I would be ashamed to upset her now. She's so happy. You are a monster, I whispered. No, he corrected me. I am the man your best friend loves. Remember that tomorrow when you were holding her bouquet? I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I wrote 2 letters, paired one to Sarah, explaining everything, and another to my therapist, explaining why I couldn't keep living with the secret anymore. Standing beside Sarah at the altar, watching her radiant smile as she prepared to bind her life to a predator, something inside me finally broke. The officiator asked if anyone knew of any reason why these two should not be wed. The church fell silent. Sarah looked at me confused by my tears. I am so sorry, I said loud enough for the front rows to hear. He assaulted me our sophomore year at Barkley. Gasps rippled through the church. Ryan's face contorted with fury, then quickly rearranged into wounded innocence. She's obviously jealous, he announced to the shocked crowd. She's been in love with Sarah for years. I hadn't anticipated that twist. As murmurs spread, I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. I knew you might say that. I told him so last night. I reached out to Ashley Williams and Madison Cooper. The color drained from his face. They both had stories remarkably similar to mine. They were too afraid to come forward alone, but when I told them about today, I turned to Sarah. 3 women with the same story about the same man is not a coincidence. Sarah looked between us, her perfect day shattered. Then she did something I never expected. She handed me her bouquet, walked to her parents in the front row, and asked her father for his car keys. The wedding's off, she announced. Bren, who actually knows me, knows I would never choose a man over the woman who has been my sister for 20 years. Ryan lunged toward her, but Sarah's brother stepped between them. As we drove away from the church, Sarah reached for my hand. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I was afraid you wouldn't believe me, I admitted. Most people don't. I am not most people, she replied, tears streaming down her cheeks. I am your best friend. That night, surrounded by takeout containers in our pajamas, Sarah and I created a private online group for Ryan's victims. Within 24 hours, 5 more women had joined. Sometimes the most important vows aren't the ones exchanged at the altar, but the ones we make to ourselves, to speak our truth, no matter how delayed, and to trust that those who truly love us will believe us when it matters most.